What's good, creative fam? Brandon Washington here, and welcome back to another episode of Uncensored Live. Man, I am super excited to be here this morning. If my voice sounds a little weird, it's because honestly, I've been under the weather this entire week. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. But I will tell you right now, I am like based here in Texas. And in Texas, when the weather drops below like 40 degrees, Texas loses its mind completely. And so that's what our week has been like. But it definitely won't stop the show from coming on. Last week, we dealt with power issues. This week, we dealt with a freeze. And so we're really excited to be tuning in this week. Now, one of the questions that we popped off early on in the chat was today is the big Apple Vision Pro day. And so today was the day for you to pre-order and decide if you're going to pick one up. I'd love to know if you guys are actually planning on picking one of those up. Do you guys even care about VR? We're definitely going to talk about that later on today because spoiler alert, I went ahead and picked up one, but I'll let you guys roast me for that later. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Today we got a special show set up for you guys. First of all, I want to say that I got my good friend Jarrell. He is back in the building today, but he's in a slightly different spot. Jarrell, you want to show him where you're at today?
Yes, I am in the captain's chair.
Jarrell is in the captain's chair. And the main reason why Jarrell is chilling in the captain's chair is because I brought back out one of my good friends, Marcus Robinson, today. He is a fantastic filmmaker. If you guys don't remember, a few weeks ago, he came out onto the show. We talked about the fact that he has a documentary that is currently on the long list for a Oscar nomination, as well as he's just an amazing filmmaker, but he is someone who is a lot like me. He finds himself in that weird space where he is part filmmaker, but also a part content creator. And I would love to know really quick in the chat, please. I know that some of you guys, when you're watching, you just kind of listen, you kind of just put it on. But I really want to know right now in the chat, please, everybody tell me, which one do you identify with more? Are you a filmmaker or are you a content creator? Or do you feel like you have to be both? And I'd love for you guys to sound off in the chat because me and Marcus are definitely going to talk about that. But I'm really, really excited today to bring in my good friend, amazing filmmaker, awesome content creator, Mr. Marcus Robinson. Let's go ahead and pull him up.
Like you describe me better than my wife describes me when she introduces me to people.
All good, bro. Well, thank you so much for being here. I know this is gonna be different for everyone who's watching this, but Marcus is here in person. I know we kind of got this cool little setup for you guys, so that way we can have a split screen. One of the pieces of feedback we got from the last time Marcus was here was the fact that because we were both here in person, we were switching cameras back and forth. So we changed up the text slightly. So that way, even though we're both here in the same room together, we can both still show up on screen with a nice split screen. So I'm really excited about that.
Cool. That's good that you listen to the people, you make the adjustments, you're doing it for them.
Hey, that's the main reason why we're here. And that's the reason why, I feel like that's one of those things, I mean, to kind of kick off the conversation, as people are starting to chime in and letting us know if they feel like they're more filmmakers or content creators, I feel like one of the big differentiators there is when you're a filmmaker, 9 times out of 10, you're creating for you. But when you're a content creator, you're almost always creating for the audience. And I wonder if that was one of the things that this week, with all these YouTubers popping up, talking about how they're, quitting YouTube and they're leaving YouTube. It's like content creators have to create for the algorithm. They have to create for the audience. They have to create for retention. But a lot of these guys, I think, were filmmakers and they kind of found themselves becoming content creators.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of being torn away from being able to be the filmmaker and create for themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, as someone who sits kind of in the middle, where do you find yourself?
It's weird because I've been watching some of the videos online and seeing what these guys are saying. And it's almost like I'm glad they're saying it, because I'm trying to step back into the whole YouTube thing, but it made me pause to kind of figure out the why.
Yeah.
Why do I want to go on YouTube and why am I creating content on Instagram and what is my why? And if it's to work with brands, and then it's almost the same thing as corporate filmmaking work or corporate video work, because I have a client, they hire me for a particular service, and I have to give it to them. So if I'm making content for a brand and I'm doing the same thing, but I also have to produce numbers,
Yeah.
whereas in corporate, I don't have to. That's their job. They have a marketing team. I deliver the video. It's up to their marketing team to figure out what to do with that content. For a content creator, you got to create the content and then produce the numbers so you can continue to work with the brand or continue to sell your product, and then it becomes something else.
Yeah.
And that's where I think some of the stress can come in.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with that. I feel like, personally, I've been juggling both for so long, and I didn't even realize that I was juggling two different things. I thought I was just doing one thing. I just was like, oh, I'm a creator. You
Mhm.
know, I'm a filmmaker. I'm a content creator, videographer. I didn't care what the title meant, but I'm realizing now more and more that those titles are very different things. I know you had mentioned to me once before that you got hired to go and do a job where you were supposed to be more of the content creator, but you kind of attacked it like a filmmaker, and that the client had a weird experience based off of that.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So it was a job I had to do. And she hired me to shoot vertical content. She said it was for TikTok. Now, I couldn't turn off my filmmaking brain.
Mm,
So I'm focusing on lighting, composition. I mean, it looked stellar.
yeah.
I sent it over, proud, chest out. She didn't like anything. She didn't like anything. And I was like, okay. It was a meeting. It was figure out. And she was like, Marcus, I mean, this looks good, but it doesn't look like this. I just wanted like TikTok style video. Meaning I could have actually came there with my phone.
It's probably what you wanted, huh?
I could have came there with a phone.
Marcus, did you film it vertical or did you do it horizontal?
I filmed it horizontal, but it was open gate, so I was able to cut and just filmed it wide. And I hate filming vertical, but yeah, she just didn't. She was like, it was just too much work, and I was wondering why the price was so high, and like that type of stuff. And I was like, damn, I should have just kind of turned off the filmmaking brain and turned on the content creator brain. But I don't think I fully accepted that brain yet.
Yeah. And I think that's where like a lot of people, even myself included, sometimes will struggle. It's like there are times where, I am like heavy, like I got into all this because I wanted to be a filmmaker first. This is before even being a content creator was even a thing, I watched movies, I saw other people's videos, I saw commercials, ads, whatever, and I was like, "Oh, I want to be a part of the process that makes that thing happen."
Mm-hmm.
And then as social media grew, and then especially around 2020, as TikTok started to kind of take over, like it became ridiculous to sort of like see this like change happen where like, oh, we got to create content too.
Mm-hmm.
Because content creates reach, which is ultimately not a bad thing. You know what I mean? But it is one of those things where it's like, how much of your artistic like decisions do you have to sacrifice to play towards the content? Which, like you mentioned, it feels a lot like creating for a client.
Yeah.
Because like, a lot of times, I mean, anyone here, I'm sure there's a lot of people in the chat right now who have clients, who shop for clients. And I see Mr. Cam Mackey back in here. Jesus, man.
Look at those pants.
I know someone like Mr. Cam Mackey who definitely shoots a lot of client stuff. There is always that balance, right? There's that balance of do we do what I want to do as the creator, or do we do what the client wants? And I feel like that's the same thing that's happening with content creation. It's like, do we do what I want to do as the creator, or do I do what I feel is going to work in the content creation, landscape? Do I put 15 cuts in the first 5 seconds because I know that's going to keep people's attention, or can I let a slow push in tell the same story?
Or you were told it will keep people's attention. See, I have a revelation over the last few days. I've really been thinking about this hard. And I came to the conclusion that I'm just going to put out what I want. I'm just gonna make what I want. I'm not gonna. If you really look at like Instagram or TikTok, and you'll see a bunch of people, gurus,
Okay.
that say, "Oh, you have to do this and you have to do that," and da 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 da. And it's like, are any of you guys doing like case studies on people? Like, where's this information coming from? Where's this? You have to do a jump cut, like a 20 jump cuts in a reel, or it has to be less than 10 seconds to keep someone's attention. I just watched a TikTok part 1 through 10 because it was a story,
Yeah.
and I wanted to figure out how this was going to end. Right. So
Yep.
that wasn't a 10-second short. It was 10 clips. They were all 60 seconds long, and I wanted to watch the entire thing. You know, I think, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think people are just tired of it. Like, I go on Instagram, and I'm guilty. I had to do the jump cut thing. I had to put the film burn in my reels. I had to put the distortion transitions. I had to add the what do you call them? The hits and the risers.
Yeah.
You know, I had to, I felt like I had to do that. And I don't like doing that. You know, if I'm a filmmaker, I don't know any film that I ever watched that had a hit
Mm,
or a riser that I loved.
have you seen Inception?
They had a music bed. They had sound design.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
not that's
Okay.
not
I get what
sound
you're saying.
design.
I get what you're saying. So
That-
it's not like that's not like you're saying the hit wasn't like in your face.
No.
Okay. I get
Yeah,
what you're
it's
saying.
just, it's like now you're told where to put the hit
Gotcha.
and da da da. So if a million people do that, what makes your content stand out?
That's true.
What makes you stand out as an individual? Like, I've been following Cam Mackey for a long time. He doesn't know me, but I've been following him for years, and I don't remember any of his music in his videos. You know what I'm saying? I don't remember, and I just loved his color grade. I love the fact that he was rocking with a camera that I liked. And at the time when I was watching him, and I'm sure he's still like that now, it just seemed like he didn't care. Like, I'm just gonna post what I want. And I think as creators, we're getting caught up in that whole algorithm thing
Mhm.
and the rules of that, and we're getting sucked back into the matrix when in reality we didn't want to be a part of the matrix. That's what made us different
Yeah.
than everyone else. But now we're getting sucked back into the matrix, and I don't know, man. It's just changing everything, and things are getting watered down, and I'm just and that was becoming a part of that. I don't want to be, so I'm trying to break away from that.
And I think that makes a lot of sense. Now, I know we got a couple super chats, and so I want to definitely acknowledge a couple of
Okay.
those. And I think, but they're actually making a lot of really good points. So, like this first one says, 99% of us are not filmmakers, just creators.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes these titles do overtake us. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, we're artists,
Yeah.
right? But the second that you try to profit off of your art does slightly have to change. And I currently like have always balanced with that because I hate the term starving artist,
Yeah.
right? So I believe that art is valuable and that you can profit off of your art, and you should, because your art, anything that evokes emotion from people and people enjoy and they can like have an experience through, means that it's valuable.
Yeah.
And I think the artist should be compensated for that,
Yep.
like correctly. And so when I look at that, and then I look at, the state of, YouTube and artists, and what I honestly think is happening, because this has happened even on my own channel, is sometimes I think there are pieces of content that you need to make as an artist, as a filmmaker, as a content creator, as a whatever title you want to give yourself. There are certain pieces of content that you need to make that you don't care what it actually is going to be, like what it
Mhm.
means. Like, for example, this last year we made a collection of videos around the red Komodo X,
Yeah.
right? And when I made those videos, I honestly did not care what anybody thought about them. Like the format was so different.
Yeah.
Like it was almost 100% voiceover
It was a movie.
on one of them. It was more of a
I just
movie.
told you that. It was like a short film.
It was kind of made that way, and it is still to this day probably one of my favorite videos I've ever made on my channel. And then I'll be honest, like this live stream show that people are watching right now, like I don't care really like how this works for the algorithm. I don't really care about, like no episode has ever been sponsored. And like, I don't even know if brands are going to want to sponsor something like this. But I personally feel like there are just conversations that filmmakers and content creators should be allowed to have. And if people enjoy this type of content and they're rocking with it and they enjoy the conversations, then it'll do its thing, you know? And I want to sit down and talk with my friends and have uncensored conversations, because let's face it, like on YouTube, a lot of the stuff we talk about in the world of filmmaking, whether we want to be honest with ourselves or not, it's slightly filtered. Like whether you're trying to change it up because you want to make sure that a brand is happy, or that you want the opportunity to work with more brands in the future, or you're trying to tailor it in order to get more views. I just want to have a place where creators can come on, people can throw stuff in the chat and just give their honest opinions. Like, for example, I see we're getting quite a bit of different things coming through. Let's pull up a good one here, Jarrell. But like,
yeah, one of the good ones from Scott, and it'd be good for you guys to kick this around, is he says content creation is like documentaries. Choose one of the three. You can make money, you can win awards, or you can put people in the seats. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, that's a really good point. It's like everything. Everything is in like that triangle, where you can have something good, you can have it fast, you can have it cheap. Like, I feel like art is kind of that same thing.
Yeah.
Like in this case, like Scott's basically saying that, you have to choose one of them. Like, you can go after the money, you can go after the awards, or you can go after, putting, butts in seats.
Yeah.
And I think I think what gets difficult, I guess, is trying to have your cake and eat it too, you know? And so I think that it's really important as artists that we continue to like respect that artistic side of ourselves and create stuff that we love and that we're passionate about, but understand that, like, at the same time, like, you got to put food on the table.
Yeah. And I don't like anyone else's hustle. It's, I think we all, from the question before, or the comment before, he said 99% of us are not filmmakers. We're more creators. Even filmmakers are creators, so I think there's different levels to everything. And the word filmmaker is being overly used, even by people that are content creators, and maybe because they feel that they have to take that title for respect purposes or whatever. But I just think as artists, if we go back to calling each other artists, and we're just artists and we're just creative artists. When I went to school, that's what it was called. There was no filmmaking, there was no content. It was just creative arts.
Yeah.
And there's just so many different avenues, which is why Gear is catered to so many different, genres of this art and different stages of this art. I just feel that, we just got to respect what everyone wants to do, and just kind of like, don't think that your path is for somebody else.
Yeah. Cam here, he says, I always saw a difference between content creators and filmmakers, even if they both produce content on platforms. I think more filmmakers are crossing over and teaching people. It's not about spec sheets.
Yep.
And I think that's actually one of the things I love about like YouTube, is that you can kind of make it your own playground. Like for a long time on my channel, it was like a place that I just went to practice, right? And then sometimes it's like a place I go to educate. Oh, I learned something really cool. I want to share this with other people. I want the next generation to have this knowledge that took me way too long to figure out. And then sometimes it's a creative playground, like with the Komodo X video.
Yeah.
And now it's a place where I like to come here and have conversations with my friends and just share knowledge and, have other people come up on the show and share their perspectives as well. And so like, that's kind of the thing for me that I like most about YouTube, is that it gives you that opportunity to really make it whatever you want. But at the same time, if you're going after views, numbers, algorithm, then there's a game you have to play.
So this is a pretty interesting question from Brandon. When do you guys think people cross over from being a content creator maybe into a filmmaker? Or if somebody is a content creator, how do they become a filmmaker?
I mean, if you have an answer.
I was that person. I didn't start off as a filmmaker. I was an IT guy. I worked on servers, desktop support, network administration. That was my career for 12 years before I picked up a camera. I picked up a camera to create content for our church. This was before the word content creator was even a thing. It was a Nikon. Yeah, it was a Nikon, y'all. It was a Nikon D 5200 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I picked that camera up, Best Buy, learned photography on that camera. It was, the video was, it was what it was, but I was capturing content for our church. And then I started interviewing people, and with that same camera, then we moved to like the Lumix G4 or something like that. And we started filming testimonials. That's when the love for that process became something for me. I was doing content first, and the second night, like, something sparked with me about filmmaking, that's when I said, maybe I should try or learn more about this. And that's when I started my whole YouTube thing and just researching things. But I was a content creator first, and then I found that spark about filmmaking that I loved more than creating content. But I couldn't afford to go to film school, so YouTube University, and just doing more interviews and more interviews. I've probably interviewed over 300 people.
Yeah.
And just, learned, on the way. And so his question for me was, I found something about filmmaking that I loved. That was the storytelling.
Yeah, I feel like for me, last week we had Brittany Janae on, and she said that for her, like, content creator is like an umbrella term, and then underneath that is filmmaker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which, like, I can kind of like sort of like resonate with a little bit, because, I feel like in order to be a really solid content creator, you have to have filmmaking skills. You know what I mean? Like operating a camera, understanding sound, understanding lighting. Those to me are filmmaking techniques, at least in the way that I grew up learning them. But I also understand that there's a part of filmmaking that is script writing, stories, like crafting a perfect 3 arc structure, and like, and doing all that. And that all falls under filmmaking. And I think if you have really strong filmmaking skills, it makes you a better content creator. But I just think it's like sometimes we just get like, we use these terms as like filters to sort of like dictate like, oh, like, yeah, it's going to be probably a talking head video. That's going to be probably more of a content creator, right? That said, I would say that every video that Casey Neistat ever created wasn't necessarily a talking head, but it was more vloggy. But the way he told his stories, it still felt like films.
Yeah.
And so I do think that sometimes when we get caught up into these terminology between like what makes you a filmmaker, like I know Brandon was asking, like, at what point do you switch from being a content creator to a filmmaker? I honestly think it's really up to you.
Yeah.
It's just whatever title you want, but just creating what it is that you ultimately want to do. The fear that I have is when you allow the pursuit of becoming a quote unquote content creator in its new general term, and it sways some of your filmmaking decisions, you start to lose some of the artistry. And then here's where I think it gets really dangerous for creators, is when you as an artist feel like you want to go left, but you feel like in order to be a successful content creator, you need to go right. And then when you go right and you don't get what you expected, or you didn't get the views, or you didn't get the likes, or you didn't get what you thought you were going to get, then you feel burned out. You're like, wait a minute, I did what I was supposed to do. I did the cuts. I did the, teal and orange. I did the transitions, I did the halation, and I'm not getting the views. And you're like, oh, what happened?
I got the pro mist on.
And I think that's where sometimes you just got to become like, it's okay to not do what, all the other creators are doing, because at least when you do it your way, if it doesn't work, you still are proud of what you got. Yeah. Like when I released that Komodo X video, it technically was a flop at first. Like it did not, as far as like numbers go, it was a flop. But out the gate, I was so proud of it because it was like artistically exactly what I wanted it to be. I didn't care.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go back to what you said too about the content creators being filmmakers and have to have that type of skill possibly. I don't know, man, because there's a lot of successful, it's the term, because like my wife's a content creator. I'll just share with you, some deals. She just brokered some deals with some brands. Bro, she does not know how to use a camera at all. And she doesn't want to learn from me. She wants the process to be as less friction as possible.
Yeah.
A cell phone works for her. I bought her all sorts of stuff. Cell phone with a light. and she makes her content, and she knows her audience, you know, and she's doing it as a business,
Mhm.
and it works for her. She doesn't know anything about the rule of thirds, and you know, I just bought her a mic. You
Yeah.
know, she just got the Hollyland mic, so she's excited about that stuff, because she wants her audio, and the only thing she wanted was better audio. She didn't care about anything else. You know,
Yeah.
I told her, you need light, babe. Like the lights in this house is crazy. You need some light, so I have to buy her light. So it's like, I don't know. It's the whole content creator word. It's either, you know, high or low. It depends on how someone wants to use it, right? But I know for me, it's that I don't want to be either.
Yeah.
You know, you know, or I want to be both. You know, I don't care about the label. I'm just a guy that loves cameras, you
Yeah.
know, and I like helping people, and
Yeah.
I like learning stuff, you know, and I don't care about showing my work. I don't care if you think it's good or bad. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just happy we have this platform that's just free, that you can display your work. Artists before social media, that was the artist's goal, was to make sure that someone saw their work.
Yeah.
They had to go to an art gallery or whatever the case is, go to film festivals. All that stuff now is free, you know. So like, why are we now like, oh well, the only enemy is the algorithm? Like the insights and the analytics, like that's what's really messing up a lot of the artistry stuff.
Yeah, and I don't wanna say, like, have to harp on this for too long, but
Mm,
I do wanna say that, like, for anyone who's currently watching this and you're, like, kind of, like, figuring out, like, what should I do? Am I a filmmaker? Am I a content creator? Or you're looking at all these people, you know, jumping off of YouTube or making all these drastic decisions. The thing about, I think, being an artist that's so much fun is that it's so personal, right? And so, like, for you, that's like, it is part of that discovery. You know, every part of it is the journey.
yeah,
And so, you know, I see there's a chat in here, and you know, D for Darius is actually a really, really cool guy. And yes, his content is amazing, but he's a filmmaker who makes content. Excuse me. Like, he's a filmmaker who makes content. And I'm like, that is, I think that's what he wants to be,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry
Yep.
guys, I'm sneezing up in here. But yeah, I think that's something that's absolutely crucial, you know, as an artist, is that you figure out what it is that you want to be, and you just start walking through that path. You know, I see, like, I got my good friend Justin up in here, and Justin and Cam, y'all calm down. I see y'all already.
I'm late.
I see y'all, they're all already talking trash.
Just
Put your
had to
wallets away, chill out.
dip out.
Uh
I'm waiting for invoices.
look, they already talking trash.
I see you.
But no, I think it's interesting. Like, when you look at all these different creators, you can see all their different journeys. And it's really, really fun to see how different creators, like, choose to take those paths on their own, and they allow themselves to work their way up to that level of success.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of levels of success, everybody here, if you are not aware, Marcus recently just had a film that just got put on the long list, and I want to make sure I'm getting this right. It's
Yeah.
on the long list right now to be nominated for an Oscar um in the documentary
Documentary space.
in
Yeah.
the documentary space, right? And this is your first film to ever be on a list and be nominated for an award like this.
This is my first feature, period.
First feature, period. Okay, my bad.
Period.
So, first feature, period. Now, it's funny to kind of make this connection here, because, like, we're going from, you know, like you already mentioned, filmmaker, you make content, right? And now you're literally having your film on, like, the list of all lists. Every filmmaker, I mean, it doesn't matter who you are,
Mm.
at all levels. Everybody would love to win an Oscar. I don't think there's a filmmaker who wouldn't want to be at least nominated, recognized
nice.
by
Would be
the
nice.
Academy,
Yeah.
right? And, like, so you're there, but you're there in a very weird situation based off of the reel that you posted. And that is the fact that it was a very simple documentary, but because you guys focus so much on the story, that's what got you guys there.
Yeah, it was, I mean, team effort, of course. Man, I just went in there with a good heart. You know, I love the people I was working with. They were teaching me a lot. Again, it's my first feature. A lot of work, a whole year to shoot this in Houston, hot, cold. We did all of that last week or this
Everything.
week. So we went through all of that, and it was cool. And then it's like, the cameras and all that stuff didn't matter. It was just like, let's get the story. I'm learning something about the topic that I didn't know before. Talking to some very interesting people, and it was a good team effort. To see something I shot on the screen at the release was it was amazing. And talking to the committee and them saying, hey, we love the story, we love the topic, we love the way the music and the score was done on this, the composition, that all together, plus PR and all that other stuff. It made a hit in Houston because it was a huge topic.
Yeah.
So all of that combined, prayer just got us on that list.
But so you say you got a chance to speak with the committee.
The directors did.
The directors got a chance to speak with the committee. Now, obviously, most people on this channel, most people who are watching this, a lot of us were gearheads, right? We love cameras, we love lenses, we love debating.
Me too.
Who has the best gear? What's the newest thing that just came out? Let's all talk about it. But you had mentioned to me that there was a topic that did not come up on that call. Something that they actually did not care about that was actually super interesting.
Yeah.
What was the thing that actually never came up on that call?
Surprisingly enough, the camera. They never asked, didn't care.
And what camera did y'all use to actually shoot this?
It was the Blackmagic Pocket 4K.
The 4K, so not the 6K.
The 6K was used in the interviews.
Okay.
But for the running gun, it was a 4K.
So how much is a Blackmagic 4K?
Now, I don't know. Is it still $1,200 or something like that? Used, probably cheaper than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was the gear. This was the most used piece, was the pocket camera, Pocket 4K, the Metabone speed booster, the Canon 24-105 photo f4 lens with a Freewell. Am I plugging? Should I say their name?
Yeah, I mean, okay, I don't know if I'd recommend.
I don't know if I'm getting a hit. I'm not going to say the company.
No,
but a unknown filter system, 2 to 5 stops, and that was like the gear that I used the majority of the time. Plus, I was in charge of the audio. It was nuts. It was nuts.
Now you were officially the DP on this doc. And so that was the camera package. Now, was this the camera package that you chose, or is this something that was given to you?
I tried to talk them into 2 different other cameras,
and
they was like, nope. They shot a film prior to that was really successful, and they loved the look, and they just got accustomed to the Pocket, the Blackmagic look, and the editor was accustomed to B-raw, so that's what they wanted to use. So I just stopped the conversation.
But I find though interesting about that was that you were still able to tell a great story, and it didn't matter what camera, even though like you were like, hey, I had 2 other systems I would much rather actually shoot with.
It would have made my life easier.
Yeah.
But I owned the camera at the time. I had the camera for like 2.5 years, maybe 3 years prior. So they hired me because they knew I knew that camera.
Yeah.
I knew how to use it in any situation. And that's what they wanted. They wanted someone that knew how to use the camera system. And at the time I had the C70, and I could have talked them into renting a Sony, FX6 possibly. But I just got the C70 around that time. I knew the pocket camera. Like that was like my ex-girlfriend that I was dating for 3 years. I knew that camera. So it made sense as to why. They're the directors, and they knew more than I did about what they wanted, but they wanted someone that if something happened, you knew how to adjust and troubleshoot just like that. We don't got time for you going on YouTube or calling someone else trying
to get
I'm
support.
like, yo, Brandon, what's going on with the C70? So it made sense.
I think that's really interesting. I think that's something that we can all pretty much take away, is that like, when it comes to shooting really any project, it's not always about like the best camera, but it's also even more important to have the camera that the best. Because I feel like you're right, like especially in documentary space, like if you're running and gunning and you're trying to get something and like something weird happens in the camera or the menu changes, or God forbid you have to like, do a full reset on the camera and now you're back to factory settings. You need to go in and quickly change it. Like the ability to like know that camera and work through those situations in real time can be like what actually like makes or breaks or determines whether you miss that shot. Because I mean, you're shooting on a camera, you're shooting live stuff, B-roll in the moment, not going to get a second shot.
Not gonna get a second shot.
You're not staging stuff for this.
No.
And all that still cut in together to be a film that when the Academy looked at it, they were like, this is what represents the Academy and this is what we like.
It was crazy. Yeah. Yeah. And a great editor, colorist, all that stuff comes into play. Yeah. And so yeah, you're very important, but you're not the most. It's a full team. I don't even want to take all the credit at all. It was a full team. I was amazed at what he did. There's times, man, where I thought the audio was done. I was like, man, good luck. What happened here with this audio situation, but they did great. And there's something that never made it. We shot several interviews that didn't even make the film and stuff like that. It's called For the Animals. If anybody wants to check it out, it's called For the Animals.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll make sure we have that linked up. We'll pull that into the chat. If I can get one of our moderators to find that and go ahead and throw that up in the chat, that'd be super duper helpful.
But I'm a strong advocate of telling people I never recommend someone to buy a camera at all. Like if you see me on social media with a camera, so many people will say, oh, like how you like the camera? I'm thinking about buying it. What do you think? I'm like, what camera you have now? They say it. I'm like, well, what's wrong with it? Nothing. so why you buying another? Like I'm at that point now. It took a while. When I first started, I'll buy a camera every year like an iPhone. But now it's like, come on, man. Like how many hours are in your camera?
Right.
You pull up them hours. If it's like low, like what are you talking about buying another camera for?
Yeah, I think that's really important that you said like what's wrong with your existing camera?
What's wrong with it?
And like, because if you do have something wrong with it, like let's say you're like, oh, it only shoots, 30 frames per second, and I really need it to be shooting longer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or I really need to do some slow motion stuff with it. It actually helps you inform you on like, okay, so I do actually have a problem with my camera, but now I know what I need to be looking for when I buy
the next one,
my next camera.
Yeah.
But if you don't know what's wrong with your camera, you're just like, I don't know. I just want something better.
I hear crazy stuff like, oh, I love how you make your images look. I'm like, bro, like, so the camera did that? It wasn't me. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy. The space is weird. We're in a weird place. That's why I shoot with whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care. As long as I have the time to work that camera out and find my look, I'm staying with it for a little bit.
Well, that's awesome. Well, Jarrell keeps looking at me.
Yeah, we plan these episodes. We do plan them. We talk through them. There's so many good things that we do. But it's so crazy because I planned a game for the both of you guys. And what you guys have been talking about for the last 10, 15 minutes is perfect for this game. So we are going to play another edition of Filmmakers React. But first, we're going to roll the intro, and then I'm going to tell you what it's all about.
Fancy, man.
Yeah, we're fancy. We're bougie. Cam Mackey tells us we're bougie.
Every week.
Straight bougie.
All right. So real quick game. If you guys were here last week, we talked about a commercial with a twist. But this week, we've got something even better. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show 5 different trailers for movies. And Brandon and Marcus and you, chat, we want you to participate. But remember, in the chat, you're going to need to put the name of the movie, or you can put like one. And then I want you to guess the camera that was used for the movie. And so if you're nerdy,
and Alexa, like
if you're
was that 95% of
if you're nerdy and you already know, then you're gonna win. But if not, you're gonna have to look at the image and pull something out of it. So
I'm gonna lose.
Are you guys ready?
Oh, let's go. This is gonna be fire. I like this.
This is real.
I'm sorry. You really think you're going to take a kid who plays video games in their bedroom, you're going to strap them to a 200-mile-an-hour rocket? It'll tear him to pieces.
Let us know. You won't have to watch the whole thing.
can hate me now,
It's not gonna work. The guys who race are elite athletes.
but I won't stop now.
Your kids are scrawny little gamer kids.
Well, that's where you come in.
Cause I can't
I
stop.
like the trailer. I'm about to watch this.
All right, what do you think it is? And chat, let us know. What do you think?
I already know this one.
You know, just say it,
Ooh.
bro. Because I got.
No, go
nothing,
ahead. I'll
man.
let you go first. I know
This is
one.
this points. This is points. This is a game competition.
I know this
Okay.
one. I feel like I'm cheating,
I
but I
don't
know
know,
this
bro. FX9.
one. Ooh, that's good.
Brandon, you gonna lock it in?
Yeah, I'm gonna say FX9.
I'm gonna say you I think you're very close. I'm pretty sure in this movie they used the Venice.
Okay.
I'm just not sure if they had the Venice 2 yet for this one. I'm gonna guess Venice 2, but I know for sure this is a Sony
Okay.
movie.
Sony.
It's a Sony movie, so that's how I know it's Sony camera. So I'm going Venice 2, and then I don't know, maybe that FPV shot was like maybe shot on like a FX30 or something like that. That'd be cool to see. But yeah, I'm going Sony.
All right, Brandon, you
Okay.
win the first round.
Is it a Venice 2?
It's the Venice.
See?
I knew it. I can.
I
So
was
here's
close though.
here's
I
the
should
thing.
get, like,
This is what I
half
like
a
about
point.
this is what I like about Sony though. Sony's all in on their stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Gran Turismo, Sony video
Sony.
game, Sony Productions, Sony cameras.
Yep.
So that's why I knew that. One.
Yep. Okay.
All right, next movie.
Everyone said
Found you in the
Aria.
wreckage
Aria.
of that ship.
Gran Turismo. This
I
is Rebel
considered
Moon.
leaving you.
This is Rebel Moon.
I was afraid you could bring trouble to us.
What do you think they want?
We're just farmers. We're not a threat. They won't.
All right.
I went first before.
Okay. I'm gonna go. I'm going because it's Netflix. I'm gonna go red. Can we just say brands or do we have to say actual cameras?
It depends.
Okay, I'm gonna say it looks like a
If you guys choose the same brand, then you're gonna have to get more specific.
okay, I'm going red V Raptor. Maybe Vista, maybe the yeah, I'm just gonna go red Raptor on that one. It looked full frame. It looked
I'm gonna do Alexa LF.
Alexa LF.
Yeah.
All right. What is it?
I guess, Brandon, last week you said, let's play a game that you can win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
you
it.
won.
Ah,
It's the Raptor XL.
I knew it.
Oh damn.
Only reason why I said that was a Raptor was because of all of the special effects, and I know that you need that extra. You want that extra resolution, and Netflix is like weird when it comes to Aris. Like they don't always accept the Aris. So,
All right.
You got another one?
We got 3 more.
Oh, let's run it.
2001. Humble roots, local kids, street racers who became hijackers. Graduated to high-speed smuggling. Mobile jailbreaks. Train robberies. If it could be done in a car, they did it. If it violates the laws of God and gravity, they did it twice.
All right, we good?
Days
Yeah,
were one
right.
man behind.
So this is Fast 10, Fast 8, Fast it's a Fast
10.
and
Fast
Furious.
10.
Fast and Furious. All right, what camera? I have no idea on this one.
I'm gonna stay with Ari.
You going Ari again?
Yeah.
Um,
I gotta hit it once with Ari.
you're like eventually,
I'm gonna have to hit it once.
eventually it will be an Ari.
Yeah.
Okay. Just since you go Ari, I'm gonna go Panavision. I'm gonna go Panavision just
'Cause
because
of
I
the
can have a
shutter
different guess.
speed?
Huh?
But because of the
Well, because Panavisions are basically rehoused reds. And I know they like that extra, the extra resolution. So I'm gonna go Panavision on this
All righty, for this one, Marcus, you take it with
Cool.
the Ari Alexa.
one. Oh, there you go.
told you.
Eventually.
I knew I was gonna get it. But I knew like several Fast movies ago they used the Alexa.
Yeah.
So I figured they're gonna keep using the Alexa.
Yeah. I mean,
Statistically speaking, Ari pumps out the most. So
Yeah.
Good bet. Good bet.
The next one's the Alexa 2.
Hold on. Someone says finally got one right. They're right there with you, Marcus.
Yeah, I mean,
It's 2-1. 2-1.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna go into the documentary space.
Oh, I'm gonna lose.
Oh,
I don't even know what cameras
with
to
the
use
plant
for
that's
that.
closing, but I'm extremely proud of the people that work in this plant here.
For a year and a half, I didn't have
any camera
anything.
gets through.
We lost our home, we lost a vehicle.
I have struggled to get back to middle class again.
This is a historic project that is going to help grow this community,
Look at
give
those
people
colors.
jobs, and give a future
does
to your
nothing for
kids
me.
and my kids.
Where you
Okay,
sit.
Sundance, I'm gonna say FX9 or FX6.
For the doc?
Yeah.
Okay, just because I want a chance, I'm gonna just go Canon C70.
No. That is definitely not the C7.
I know it's not the C7. I don't know. I don't want to just go same with you, but I'm gonna go Canon. I'm just gonna say Canon as a whole, and then maybe I'll get lucky.
Brandon pulls it out in the end.
Damn.
What
Canon
was it?
C300.
C300. I was thinking the
Mark
300.
II.
That's what it was.
I literally was thinking
Yes.
300.
I couldn't figure out which.
I just
I
didn't
knew they
wanna say
had
it.
one bigger. I just couldn't think of the name.
It's
of
the
it.
TV resolution. It's messing me up.
Chat, how y'all doing, chat?
It's really messing me up.
How you doing, chat?
Someone got it. Someone said Canon C300.
At the same time,
Maybe they're on a delay. They're on a slight delay.
All righty, it is 3-1, but Marcus, you have a chance to tie it up because
How?
this last one
it's worth 2 points.
is worth 2 points, and not because we're just trying to make him tie you,
What?
but because there's 2 primary cameras in this next movie. All right,
Okay.
you guys get
Same
2
brand.
No, 2 different brands. And if you guys get 2 right, you get 2 points. If you get 1 right, you only get 1 point. You get no right, you get no points.
Is it still dock space?
Oh no,
All right.
feature.
Switch my camera before we go. Let's go. I'm ready. This is a feature. Oh gosh.
I just saw the article about this thing.
I feel like I've watched all the Marvel behind the scenes and I cannot remember what camera.
What's up, guys? Wait a minute. You guys aren't the real Avengers. I can tell Hulk
It was
gives it
like-
away.
Oh wait, I know what this is. I know what this is. I know one of them.
Oh, that was awesome.
I know it. Oh wait, crap! It's Sony. I forgot. Oh crap! Maybe I don't. I guess I'm out.
So Liz can
All right, let's run it. Gah.
Go with your heart.
Scott says Sony and red.
Go with your heart.
Scott knows a lot.
I'm gonna say
too.
Sony and red.
What?
Sony and red.
Okay. Okay. Well, so my initial guess, you did not say. My initial guess is IMAX. So I think one of the cameras is an IMAX camera. And I think the second camera, I'm going to go Sony and IMAX.
How is it possible that you guys guessed the cameras for all of the other rounds, but you guys both got this one wrong?
What? Not Sony, not IMAX, not red. What is it? Panavision? Is it Panavision?
Canon.
So the way that I set this game up is I went and found a brand or found a movie for every brand of camera. So Blackmagic. What? 4Ks.
No.
What? And the Ari. Again. The primary shooting was the Ari. Crash cams were Blackmagic.
Interesting.
What?
Go look it up. Look it up.
Blackmagic in the Sony. Huh.
Did
The
anyone get that?
moment you said, "Oh, Sony's gonna use Sony," I was like, "Oh, bet."
What'd you say,
Look,
Marcus?
a lot of people were like, "What?
Yeah, no,
Wait a
that-
minute, what?"
That don't make no sense. Blackmagic for the Sony using Blackmagic. I mean, using Blackmagic 4Ks as crash cams makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense because this is like that production was probably pre-Komodo and stuff like that. But like, geez.
Sheesh.
So man, that's
But I know they did
Brands
use
don't matter.
Blackmagic cameras like in a lot of like trailer releases for Netflix too.
Bro, I don't.
Someone said,
I'm
"Hell
with
no."
Scott. I'm with Scott. I don't want to play anymore.
Yeah, but the black magic was a hell no.
Yeah, I'm with Scott. I don't want to play
I don't
anymore.
want to play no more. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, it's crazy. Gear does
can't-
not matter when you have an incredible story, lighting. Oh my goodness,
I'm
all of
telling
that.
you, that
Expert
committee
color.
did not ask about the camera.
Yeah.
They didn't ask.
You know, that's something there's two things that I always tell people that always shock me the most in what I do. And like the first one is like in my professional work,
Yeah.
like when I'm working with clients and all that stuff. The first one is that this one is obvious. No one ever asks what camera I'm using. Like once I tell them, like, oh yeah, we can shoot it on a red and it does this, and this, and they're like, oh wow, that's awesome. Like that'd be great. Let's do it. But it's very rare that like out of the gate, someone's like, are you going to be able to shoot this on a red? Actually, the only time that's ever happened to me has been with like really low budget music videos.
Yeah.
That's the only time they come out of the gate like, hey,
Yeah.
are you going to shoot this on a red? I'm like, bro, you ain't got no money. What are you talking about?
Yeah, none.
Why are you saying like you can't afford those 3 letters?
No,
You know what I mean?
no.
So like that's the only time that the camera comes up. And then the other one is like, do I have a degree? Because no, I don't have a degree. But those two things, they never come up. No one ever asks about the camera. No one ever asks about my degree. All they ever want to do is like see my past work. And then they do all of their judgment from there.
Mhm.
That's it. Like, it's like, let me see what you've done. And that's the crazy part. It's like, we just looked at that. I mean, I've watched that Spider-Man movie at least
I would have never thought.
20, 30 times. Now I want to go back and watch it again. Be like, all right, which shots were shot on the Black Magic?
He probably still won't be able to figure it
No,
out.
probably
Yeah.
not. But it's just like that is very interesting. How many did you guys get right? Let us know in the chat. I want to know. I know no one got the last one, so don't even try to front.
Oh no. We got one.
Somebody got one.
We got one.
Who guessed?
Who guessed black? Check the timestamp.
Yeah.
Check the timestamp.
Check that timestamp.
He might have got
well,
both. He might have got both.
It could have been Google too. Google fingers.
No, that's hilarious.
Did you beat Brandon and Marcus, or did they do better than you?
Let us know. I want to know. I need to see it.
Well,
in the
everyone
chat
could
right
have
now.
beat me.
I think it's interesting though, because like I think sometimes when it comes to like the gear, like you're right, like it just really don't matter.
You know what? For me, I never cared, and I may lose my film card for saying this. But when I watch a movie, I do love. I think for me, I love the lighting. Lighting situations work. Like I'm always curious about that part, but I'm never curious about what camera they shot it with. Never.
Yeah.
Never. I just love the story. If the story sucks, who cares what camera they shot it with? The story sucks. So it's like I never cared. I never went back and looked. That's when the creator came out and they said, oh, it's being shot with the FX3. I didn't care. And it wasn't because I didn't like Sony. It's like, so like no one's talking about the story's dope.
I got a hot take on that one. I didn't like the creator.
I posted in my stories. I'm like, you guys kind of overhyped this movie.
Yeah.
I will be the dissenting opinion. I fell asleep the first time I watched the creator. And I was thinking, this is kind of boring. I was also tired. But I went back and rewatched it, and it's not crazy. It probably is overhyped, but it is good.
It was overhyped.
I will also be the dissenting opinion on the gear. I love story and I love great story, but I also love gear. And so I'm representing the people in the chat that love to buy stuff.
You're representing Justin Porter, so you're representing.
Yeah. and don't get me wrong, I love gear. I love tech. I was a tech head before cameras. I love tech. I was buying a camera again like every other year or whatever. But now I'm just like, all right, well, can this money go somewhere else? You know, should I put this in retirement? Like I'm not what everyone else's age is. I'm like, do I need to drop $10,000 on a camera right now where I have not one client complaining like, Marcus, when you're going to upgrade that camera?
Yeah.
You know, where you're slacking, when you're going to upgrade? No, I don't have that happening. So I'm just at a different place where what I have works, you know, and something really got to like knock me off my feet.
Yeah.
To like really, like someone asked me about my audio situation the other day and they said, hey, you know, the such and such company has this out. And I'm like, that's fine. I mean, they're dope. I don't need them.
Right.
but they're fire.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I'm just at a different place.
Yeah, and I think that's a healthy place. I think what gets difficult though is that there are people who are at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Right. And so I want to ask you this question because like I feel like the struggle is like when is enough enough, right? When is good enough actually good enough? And I think a lot of people when they're like just getting started, and I know we're a little bit further in our journey, so we have cameras that we're a bit happier with, we're more established with. We don't feel like we need more. But like when people are just getting started, like what is that good enough, do you think? Like, at what point do you think they should be turning their attention away from the camera? Or should the attention never start with the camera? Where should the attention start when you're just getting started?
But I think that's the whole problem. It's like, where is the just getting started part? You know, because I don't think it's like the just getting started is one road. It's like you come up through one road and then you look and all these different signs saying go this way, content creating that way, documentary that way, corporate work that way. And like, which way do you want to go? And like when I first started, I didn't know which way.
Yeah.
So I was buying every damn thing.
Yeah.
RGB lights. I had everything. I had all tube lights, and I don't use tube lights no more.
We traded. I took all your tube lights.
Took all my tube lights. I'm like, I don't need tube lights. So it's like, I think it's a very hard decision for some people, a hard question to answer. When I post, like, ask me a question in Instagram and I get a question like that, I'm like, bro, I don't know. Like, I really don't know. We got to have a sit down and some coffee.
Yeah.
You know, and have a long dialogue about like what your future in this might be. Like, what is it? You know, so I don't know. I hate to say, yo, buy everything, but buy something.
I always recommend buy what you can afford and rent everything else. And when I say buy what you can afford, it's like even like I get it. Like you need a camera to practice.
Yeah.
You know, like so I do recommend like purchasing something just so you can like practice like basic things like lighting. So you can actually see what that looks like coming through on your camera.
Yeah.
Or you can like, you know, practice different frame rates. So you can practice composition, things like that. Like you need something to practice with. So buy what you can afford. But the big deal is renting really takes you so much further. Like when I started renting gear, that's when everything exploded for me because I could start renting stuff that actually did make a big difference. You know, renting out extra lights, renting out better audio, even renting better glass. Like renting lenses changed everything for me because then my work started to look the way I actually wanted it to look because I learned really quickly, oh, it's not that my camera sucks. I just have really crappy lenses.
Yeah.
Or I don't have the lenses that I need to tell the story.
Yeah.
And like to Scott's even point, can we pull up Scott's last comment again? Like he says like every so often he does have clients who ask them, you know, what is he going to be shooting with? And here's the thing for me, it's like I like before I had, you know, Reds or whatever, like before I had like nicer, quote unquote, nicer cameras, because like when you're shooting on like Canon mirrorless cameras or DSLRs back in my day, like you just say the word Canon, they don't know the difference. I would ask them like, okay, do you have a preferred camera? Because we can shoot on whatever you like.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes even being able to like kind of like when they ask that question, if you do happen to get that question, like throw it back at them in that way and be like, hey, like what question, like what camera do you want me to shoot on?
Yeah.
Like what's your preference? Do you have a preference? Do you know why that's your preference?
Yeah.
Because if you do, we can shoot on whatever you like.
Yeah.
We can go ahead and rent it. That's where like things like understanding, like you mentioned earlier with the Black Magic, to kind of bring everything back full circle. Like being able to understand how to make cameras work, learn these cameras, learn the basics, learn the settings, learn how to do these things. It goes such a long way because then it doesn't matter which camera you rent. You can watch a video real quick just to learn how to navigate the menus. But like all the cameras are about the same. Once you learn resolution, you understand resolution.
Yeah.
Once you understand frame rates and you understand shutter speed, shutter angle, you understand your aperture, your exposure triangle, like once you learn these techniques, it doesn't matter what sensor and what piece of glass you put there, like you can create an amazing image. And in your situation with documentaries, sometimes you don't even have time to dial in things the way you want to. So you gotta be quick.
Yeah. And you should still also understand a specific camera. Like I get hired in I think Kim Mackey said something too about being asked what camera you own. I get hired. I freelance a lot. You know, I got to go on a job tomorrow. Actually, I'm gonna be in San Antonio if Justin's still out here. me in San Antonio tomorrow, shooting something for Walmart, and another production company is hiring me to go out there. They want this shot on an Ursa G2. So the question was not if I owned one. They said, "Do you have experience with one?" I said, "Absolutely. I've used one for over 2 years." So they're like, "Oh, great. So can you get one, and go down to San Antonio and shoot this stuff for us?" Absolutely. And they had the budget for the rental package and all that other stuff. So you don't have to own every freaking camera. Like you said, get a camera to practice on. But if you can rent cameras or be on another set with a camera, I got hired. I shot on an Alexa Mini for the first time ever here in Houston. I never shot with that camera before. The guys that hired me, they knew I never shot with that camera before. They said, "Well, what cameras you shot with?" I said, "The Red, the Alexa, Blackmagic. Those are the only cameras at the time." And they was like, "Oh, we'll show you how to use it in like 10 minutes."
Yeah.
This, that, and that. And it was a month-long project.
Yeah.
So by the end of that week, I was official.
Mm-hmm.
I knew how to work in Alexa. So on my resume, Alexa operator, I know how to work this Mini. So if someone wants to hire me for that type of operation, I have the experience. So it's just good to just get out there and experience other camera systems, but you don't have to go broke buying every single one.
So what happens, just for maybe people in the chat that maybe are a little bit newer, and somebody asked them, "So do you have experience with this camera?" And maybe they don't. What do you suggest, Brandon, Marcus? What do you suggest they do?
Tell the truth. Maybe that job's not for you. Why go on a job and F it up and then like F up your entire relationship with that company? It's just the truth. I told that company the truth. I do not know how to use an Alexa. They said, "Marcus, we saw your work. We see what you're doing on social. Such and such talks highly of you. We'll show you in a few minutes. You think you can rock out with that?" Now, when I got there, if I didn't get it after the few minutes of them showing me, I would have been fired.
Right.
And I would have probably wanted to quit because I wouldn't want to mess up this job. But I got it. It was easy. Alexa is easy to operate once you know where everything is at. So it was just, I suggest people just be honest. Just be honest. Maybe this is not the job for you.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I've been in a similar situation, and my response was like, "Hey, look, so I got hired to shoot a concert, and they were using all Sony FX9s. Now, I had never used Sony FX9s, but I've used FX6s, FX30s, or FX3s. Like I'm fairly familiar with the Sony ecosystem. And I was like, "Hey, I've never used an FX9, but it's like a big FX6, right?" And they were like, "Yeah, pretty much."
Yeah.
What I've learned with a lot of these shoots is that like once you actually get on set, and this is like the secret, the insight to like learning these cameras.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, you're gonna have a set of settings.
Yep.
And then they're not gonna change for the whole day.
Yeah.
So even if you to let them know, like, "Hey, I've never actually used that camera before, but I've camera operated similar cameras to it. So if you can just walk me through just how I get my cameras dialed in, then I can, I can cam op the rest of the day."
Yeah.
That is so easy to do because things like your frame rate, your resolution, your shutter speed, like that, like if you have to set ISO, what gamma you're shooting in, the color spaces, all of those are things that are going to be set at the beginning of the day. And then 9 times out of 10, they're not going to change throughout the day.
Yeah.
The other thing is that if you have confidence that you can actually have, that you can learn that system beforehand, like just let them know that. Be like, "Hey, I've never actually used that system, but I have some pretty good resources. I can go learn, do some research, and then go ahead and do that." Because I'll be honest with you, I own my Raptor, right? Like I shoot on Reds a lot. There are a lot of times when I get ready to go into a job the day before, I need to go do prep. And I need to be like, "All right, let me remember, like, okay, they want these settings. Let me go through these settings again and make sure everything's all dialed in. Let me make sure I remember how to do all these little things that are necessary on the day." Because the truth is, like, even though I know my Reds really, really well, there's still things in there that, like, if you ask me right now, off the top of my head, "Hey, how do you throw the KX into stop motion?" Or if you want to do a time lapse, dude, you're going to give me a minute.
Yeah.
Let me go through the menus real quick
Yeah.
and just quickly
Yeah.
find exactly what I'm looking for.
Yep.
So I think it's just, even if you do get, to Jarrell's question, if you do get an opportunity to operate on a job and they're looking for a specific camera, I think your advice, and it's the only advice you really should have anytime you work with someone, be honest
Yeah.
and upfront and be like, hey, no, I've never actually used that camera before. But it's okay to still speak to your confidence to be able to figure that out.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that confidence, then like Marcus says, like it may not be the job for you, but you might then be able to be like a camera assistant. Be like, hey, I've never got a chance to use that camera, but do you need a camera assistant? I'd love to come out and be the camera assistant.
Yep.
And then you get a chance to learn with that camera. And now you're still on set. You get a chance to learn, get plugged in. And next time you have that experience now.
I've given a job to someone else because they asked if I had experience. They was very specific. You have experience with the FX9? And I didn't. And I was like, should I lie and say, I did? It's kind of tight right now. Should I just kind of lie and say? And I didn't have the experience. I had experience with the FX3. Don't own it, never owned it, but I have experience shooting on it. So I said, no, I don't, but I could refer you to someone that does. And the company appreciated that, and then still brought me on as a camera department manager.
There you go.
So I kind of managed their team.
Now I'm gonna say something, and I know Jarrell doesn't know that this is coming. My team doesn't know this is coming. But Jarrell, I'm gonna go somewhere just because this is we're already here. Like this is like perfect timing. I feel like the universe set this up. So I'm gonna let everybody know about something that we have coming up very soon. So speaking of hands-on experience, I think that the best way you can get hands-on experience is going to trainings and going to events. And so, chat, I want you guys to be the first ones to really hear about this. It is very much still in the works, but I'm very confident that we're going to move forward with this. But we are very, very close to actually having our first in-person event. It will be local here in Houston. And the purpose of this event is to allow people to actually get hands-on experience with these cameras. And this is why the reason why I bring this up is because I think sometimes creators sit back and wait for the clients to, come around for them to be able to go and do that next thing. Like you're like, oh, once I get a client who wants to shoot with me on an Alexa or on a Red, that's when I'll get my opportunity. But I think there are ways for you to actually go out there and try to make those things happen ahead of time and invest in yourself. So sometimes, like for me, I remember one thing I did was I actually rented a Red for like 30 days. Like this was like 3 or 4 years ago. I rented a Red for like 30 days. It cost me like $5,000 or something crazy. But I did it because I wanted to get like a solid bulk of time working with this camera. So when I could go on set, I could do that. Now, I don't think everyone needs to be able to do that. And so that's why we're doing an event. It's going to be here in Houston. It's going to be at the end of February. And this is going to be a in-person, hands-on event where we're going to be teaching the inner workings of the Red cinema camera. And we're going to have tons of them there for people to be able to actually get hands-on experience with and actually shoot with them.
That's dope.
And so that's one of the things that this year we really want to push towards more. And if you guys are interested in in-person events, let me know in the chat right now. Let me know if that's something that you guys are interested in. And I know that means not everybody is going to be able to be there because everyone's all around the world. But I do want you guys to hear it here first. We'll have more details every week for the next couple of weeks. So definitely make sure you're tuning in for the live streams because we're going to have more information coming out. But I think that going to in-person events like that and going to trainings is incredibly valuable because it allows you to get that experience that that we were just talking about.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to do something like that. I wish there was something like that in my town when I first got into this stuff. Like I had a Sony A6500 and there wasn't too many other, like we used to always talk about, we should just team up and get a Red, and it was always talk, but it was not accessible in our city because there was no rental houses there at all.
Well, and that's where I say, like, I know some people are already saying like they'd be willing to fly in for an event like this. Sometimes you might have to, sometimes you might have to fly out and travel. But I think that investment in yourself is absolutely worth it, because then you can get a chance to really get hands-on. You can shoot. You can actually because with the event that we're working on right now, we want to not only have like an ability to get your hands on a red, but we're going to have multiple stations. So people will be able to go to different stations and actually film with these cameras in different scenarios and different environments.
Editing station just
So
for red code editing.
So we probably won't have editing is going to be a bit, but we are hoping to let everyone who leaves actually leave with some footage too.
Okay.
So that way you can take the footage home and you can actually edit that footage and practice with that footage. And we got some special guests who we're planning on having come out, and that's about as much as I think I can say. Jarrell's kind of looking at me he's like, dude, don't tell him everything right now. But I just think it's important. I don't know. My team doesn't like it when I do that, but I don't care.
Yeah, hey.
I want the people to know.
People got to know.
People got to know. I know we're still working out details, but I'm very confident that this is going to happen. I mean, I'm gonna move heaven and earth to make it happen, because I want people to be able to experience, the cameras and get that hands-on experience. So really excited.
I'm down to be there if you need the help.
Awesome. All right, I'll give you the rough date after, and you lock it in.
Cool.
But all right, last bit. Let's get some last minute questions coming through the chat, and then we'll go ahead and get ready to wrap this up.
Rob,
here is one question about the workshop.
Will you have workshops for every level of creator? Yes. So the purpose of this is really for anyone who is a beginner, intermediate for the red cameras. If you're like super advanced and you're shooting on them every single day, you're in a production company and you're nonstop shooting on the reds, there'll still be value for you to come out. I mean, we're going to have networking, and there's going to be some industry people who are going to be coming in. And so that's why I say I don't want to give away too much. We'll have more details. But if you are someone who has a little bit of experience,
Michael Bay gonna be there
with 50 bags of explosions.
Yes.
But we are gonna have some people who are coming in for this red event, and we're talking through all the details now. But the benefit of doing this again is for you to get those hands-on experience, to actually shoot with the camera. We'll have education set up as well. So if you've never shot with the red before and you don't have any idea what you're doing, you can come in and feel comfortable too, because we're going to have enough education and enough people there that can actually answer your questions and help you navigate through it.
One thing that I think Douglas said that was so good is he benefited so much from the contacts that he made at one of these meetups a few years back. Yeah, this is going to be invaluable, just being able to meet with other filmmakers, content creators. You might need to hire someone as a DIT or a PA or whatever, and now having these people in your contacts is just going to be so powerful.
Awesome. Well, yeah, absolutely. And I 100% agree with that. I think, even already, I see Scott saying he'd love to help. Scott, I'd love for you to come out. Scott, shoot me a message on Instagram after this. We'll connect. But yeah, I would love to, I think there's going to be so many amazing people who are going to want to, show up for this event. And I think for creators, no matter where you are in your journey, this is going to be something that you're going to be excited about. Someone says
Darren is wanting to know.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you name drop one special guest? Just one.
Nah, I can't do that yet. I can't do that. Tune in next week. All right, here's what I'll do. I promise next week, if you guys tune in for Uncensored, because you guys know we do this every Friday, 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. Next week, I will have a name for you. I will say that right now. Next week, I will have a name for you. Tune in next week. I'll have a name for you. Kofi said, guys, it's me. I'm coming. Kofi, you're definitely invited. Come on through, bro. But yeah, no, next week I will I'll sure make sure I have some more details for you. I wasn't supposed to tell you guys anything today, but I got too excited.
See,
I got too excited.
I got to come every Friday so I can help y'all get the scoop.
Marcus getting the inside scoops here today.
Squeeze it out of them.
So this person is wanting to know where are you located and if an APS-C camera would be good for them.
So again, cameras, my answer is going to be pretty much the same. I don't believe APS-C is a bad camera. I think if it works for you, it works for you. One of my favorite cameras that I use is the R7. I choose the R7 over the R8. They're both the same price.
I shoot Fujifilm.
I like the crop sensor doesn't do anything for. I mean, Super 35 is crop.
Yep.
My KX, which is probably my favorite camera that I have, even over my Raptor, Super 35 it's an APS-C size crop. So yeah, I think APS-C is definitely more than enough. And we are located in Houston, Texas. So big city. if you do, as
shitty.
of course, we will have more information about the event. So if you want to fly out, there's plenty of places for you to stay. Amazing food here in Houston. Marcus moved here. What
For
was
the
it?
food.
You moved here like 2 years ago, 3 years ago,
It's been
4 years ago,
Yeah,
4 years ago
already.
Yeah,
4.
wow,
Yeah.
4 years ago, and I can tell you, when he first got here,
Yeah.
he expanded.
I expanded. I had to de-expand.
We both went on
for
a
health
we both
purposes,
went on
but
a
yeah,
fitness
it was
crunch
crazy.
for a while.
Crazy.
The food here is amazing. So definitely, we're really, really excited about this event. Like I said, I'll have more information next week. One thing though that we have already locked in is that if for some reason you can't actually make it to the event, we are going to have a way for our members of the Creative Fam Academy to experience the event as well. So if you can't fly out for some reason, we do have the digital version. Now, I actually wanted to do something special. This is something that me and Marcus, we talked about a couple months ago. We talked about like the importance of like business and running a video production company and stuff. And so I actually have an entire guide inside the Creative Fam Academy, which is like solely dedicated to running a business. And the Creative Fam Academy is sort of like our hub when it comes to everything that we do. Like even Marcus, I know I probably shouldn't tell people this either, but we've been working for a while on even getting Marcus a course up on the Creative Fam Academy.
Wait until after the Oscar nomination.
After
then you could charge more for it.
You guys he's gonna raise the rate.
He's gonna raise some rates.
He's gonna raise the rate. He's gonna be like, you're not just learning from a documentary filmmaker. It is a Oscar nominated.
I'm gonna put it on my business cards and everything.
It's gonna be everywhere. But no, yeah, we're working on some stuff for Marcus as well. But I'm really excited to actually share with you guys that we have an entire guide actually on the Creative Fam Academy dedicated to business. It's all about learning how to get your own clients. And a lot of times we talk on here about the Creative Fam Academy, but I've had questions from you guys come through like, okay, what exactly is it? What all are you actually going to get? So I actually want to just show you. Can I pull that up, Jarrell?
Go for it.
Let's see if I can just go ahead and pull that up. I'll just pull it up from here. Boom. All right. Yeah. So I wanted to actually show you guys the Creative Fam Academy because this is something that I think is, something unique that we really are trying to offer. So the Creative Fam Academy as a whole is an entire catalog of guides and courses. So like most training courses, most guides that you sign up for, you pay like, thousands of dollars and you get like one course, you get one guide. The problem with that for me is that as filmmakers, there's so much stuff that you need to know. And so I wanted to take a second and just show you guys, like, we have so many different guides that are all in here and you get all of this. This is all included and it's all just part of a monthly sign up. And that monthly sign up is just $20 a month. And the one that I really wanted to show you guys is this one here. This is the business guide for creative professionals. And in here, you can see we have multiple modules all dedicated to actually growing your business. So we kind of have fun with the names a little bit, but like we have one here that's all about like the business necessities. It's called Eating Your Vegetables. It's all about like how you actually like set up your business, you get your LLC going, you actually structure your company. And then we get into how you actually market. How do you sell your business? Because I know a lot of people out there, when they sell their businesses, they're like, oh yeah, we do, we shoot 4K, we shoot 8K, we have all these cameras, all the stuff that we just told you that people don't care about. A lot of filmmakers out there are still trying to sell their business by talking about those things. So I actually show you how you actually go about selling your business. But then on top of that, we also talk to you about how you actually go about pricing your work, because the truth is that a day rate, I know everybody wants to say, oh, there's like industry standards on day rates and production costs and stuff like that. It actually varies wildly when you start talking client to client. And then we talk about how you actually go about financing, dealing with the money side of things. And then, of course, we talk about building your matrix. And that is how you actually expand your team, how you go about growing and systematizing your business and all these different things. But we actually have an entire trailer, so I'll actually pull that up and let you guys check that out. What's good, Creative Fam? Brandon Washington here, and welcome to the Business Guide for Creative Professionals. A lot of people understand the gear, the lighting, the audio, and how to get that perfect shot. But not everyone knows arguably the more important part, and that's the ins and outs of what it's like to run a business as a freelance creator. This guide has everything you need to know to start your creative business. I sat down with a few members of the BWatch Media team going over finding clients, contracts, making the sale, dealing with money, and much, much more. And all of this added up to a 7-part module course that you can finish in just over a week's time. There isn't anything you need to know before starting this course either, but after finishing this course, you will feel comfortable and confident in being able to start your business even from scratch. How to do what you love and make real money is really the key of finding that ultimate success, and that's what we try to lay out in this course. Now, you might be saying, Brandon, I've been running a creative business for a while. Do I need this course? Well, actually, yeah, because this guide not only goes how to start the business, but it also goes over how to scale it up accordingly. So that way you can go from a one-man team to setting yourself up to a point to where you can actually start hiring on more team members so you can get more done. So welcome to the course. We're excited to get started. So yeah, so that's actually just like one small thing that's actually on here. And I know somebody actually had put up in the chat, they said giving all this away for that price point is ridiculous. And the truth is that because we're not doing it for the money. Like the Creative Fam Academy really is for, in my opinion, to like help people and help that next generation. Like $20 a month really just goes to keeping the site up. I've created these guides. I put them out there. I want people to be able to actually grow and to gain from them. And one of the other things that we've done this year is that we also added in weekly office hours. So right after this live stream, which we're going to be, wrap it up here in just a minute, every Friday at 1:00 Central Standard Time, we go directly into one of our office hours or our mentorship calls. And so with our mentorship calls, people can actually hop in. They can ask me questions. We can talk about what's going on in their business. I can give them one-on-one help and guides and basically work through their business with them. So we'll have links to the Creative Fam Academy. If you guys are interested in signing up, definitely do that. I'll have, again, that linked up in the chat as well as in the description of this video. But before we get out of here, I just want to quickly thank my good friend Marcus for tuning in today and coming in. Dude, it was awesome having you here. I'm really excited that you and your growth and your business has been going really well. The Oscar nomination is amazing. You're still constantly traveling. You're constantly doing amazing. Can guys do me a huge favor, just not only just for me, but to Marcus, thumbs up, celebrate him in the chat, tell him congratulations, because
go to my channel and subscribe.
Go to his channel.
I promise
subscribe.
I got stuff coming. I promise I got stuff coming. Just subscribe. Make me want to do it.
Yeah, we really just appreciate everything that you're doing, and thanks for coming out today and just providing some value to the chat. It's
cool. It's always a pleasure coming out here and sitting on the seat. This is gonna be like the Apollo when people come and they rub on the log. This is gonna be, you gotta rub on the couch.
You gotta rub on the couch. Good luck.
Yeah.
No, dude, you've been crushing it, and we really appreciate it. And thanks for coming out today and just providing value to the chat. I think it's been a great conversation. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you guys. We love hanging out with you guys every single week. Every week, I always say, give us feedback. Let us know how to keep making this show better. I am making this show for me because I love it and I enjoy it. And hopefully you guys are loving it and enjoying it too. But I love getting feedback. In fact, this whole thing that we have right now with me on one side and Marcus on the other inside this room actually comes from a piece of advice we got from Rob Machado, who is a frequent watcher. He reached out to me and was like, dude, it'd be awesome to be able to see you and the guests in the room at the same time. And so getting that feedback from him, we worked on trying to figure out a way to make that happen today. So you guys, the members of the Creative Fam Academy, people who watch this Uncensored episode every single week, you guys are making this show what it is, and we really, really appreciate you. But if you guys want to continue this conversation, I'll see you guys over inside the Creative Fam Academy. Again, we have that linked up in the chat. Join us. We'll be live in 30 minutes over there for office hours. We'll see you guys at 1:00.
Peace.
See you guys next time. Peace.